She was 15, talented, beautiful, and deeply loved, a rising star in the ballet world with a seemingly perfect life and a boyfriend who absolutely adored her. On one ordinary evening in March 1999, she finished dance class and vanished without a trace. The police brushed it off as a typical teenage runaway case, but the truth was far more twisted and horrifying. In the days before she disappeared, she had received a secret phone call from someone she trusted completely, someone who had once been her babysitter. That person promised her easy money, just 100 Australian dollars, and made her swear to tell no one. What she didn't know was that this woman had been obsessively watching her for years, writing about her in secret diaries, envying everything she had, and carefully planning, step by step, how to erase her life completely and steal her identity forever. The protagonist of this story is Rachel Barber. Her maternal grandfather was a renowned children's author in Australia. Rachel herself was a brilliant and promising rising ballet star. This case unfolded in Melbourne, a city located in southeastern Australia and the capital of Victoria. Melbourne is not only famous as Australia's cultural and artistic capital, but has also repeatedly been voted one of the world's most livable cities. Here, wide streets and harmoniously arranged architectural structures create a uniquely elegant and refined atmosphere. In the eastern suburbs of Melbourne, there is an area called Mount Albert, a peaceful, orderly, and well-maintained locality. Rachel was born and raised right here. That year, Rachel had just turned 15. She not only had a happy family, but also possessed astonishing ballet talent. At the time, Rachel was studying at a dance school. With a strikingly beautiful appearance, she also took on a part-time modeling job. In the eyes of her friends and teachers, Rachel was a cheerful, sociable, and well-liked girl. Then, one ordinary evening, like any other, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Rachel finished her practice, said goodbye to her friends, and promised to see them tomorrow. However, from the next day onward, Rachel never appeared at school again. May 1st, 1999 was a Monday, the start of a new week. Rachel, after 3 days of rest at home, looked refreshed and full of energy. She got ready early and urged her father to take her to the tram station. From a young age, Rachel was passionate about dancing. Although she wasn't the top student in academic subjects, the moment she stepped onto a stage, her entire being seemed to light up. After graduating junior high, she repeatedly pleaded with her parents to dedicate herself entirely to dance. Her parents eventually supported their daughter's decision. Rachel transferred to a dance school specializing in ballet in Lalor, a place she had always dreamed of. For this reason, Rachel cherished every dance lesson and was never late. The dance school was located west of Rachel's home. Rachel attended classes there 4 days a week, from Monday to Thursday. She didn't want to bother her parents and had offered to go to school by herself. However, her parents were genuinely worried. Therefore, her father, Michael Barber, took on the responsibility of dropping off and picking up his daughter. Every morning, he would drive her to the tram station near the Wattle Park, and precisely at 6:15 p.m., he would return to the station to pick up his beloved daughter and bring her home. On the morning of that day, father and daughter said goodbye at the station. Afterwards, Michael returned to work. Just past 6 p.m., Michael arrived at the station early, as usual. At exactly 6:15, a large stream of passengers poured out from the platform, but Michael waited a long time and still couldn't see Rachel anywhere. He thought perhaps his daughter was a little slow or had been delayed by something. But then, as the crowd completely dispersed and the platform became empty, Rachel still didn't appear. The father's heart began to pound. He then thought to himself, perhaps his daughter wanted to surprise the family and had already taken a taxi home. Back then, without the luxury of instant messaging, a missed connection meant hours of agonizing uncertainty. Michael couldn't just stand there waiting indefinitely, so he had to quickly drive home. However, the moment he opened the door, he only saw his wife. His wife said Rachel hadn't returned at all, and it was getting darker outside. A premonition of ill omen enveloped the couple. They couldn't wait any longer and immediately picked up the phone to call the police. The missing person was 15-year-old Rachel Barber. born in Melbourne. She was the eldest daughter in the family, with 2 younger sisters. Rachel's family was quite well off. Her father, Michael, was a toy designer. Her mother, Elizabeth, was a children's author. Her maternal grandfather was a famous writer familiar to every family in Australia. Growing up in such a family, Rachel was very self-disciplined from a young age. Stories about growing up, penned by her grandfather and mother, always accompanied Rachel, helping her learn courage and a sense of responsibility from an early age. When she was 7, her grandmother took Rachel to the theater to watch a ballet. Seeing the graceful dancers on stage, Rachel's eyes suddenly lit up. On the way home, she kept telling her grandmother that as soon as she got to the door, she eagerly told her parents that she wanted to learn ballet. From then on, Rachel went to dance practice every weekend, never missing a single session. After entering high school, although she wanted to focus on dancing, with her parents' persistence, she patiently completed her high school education, until a year before her disappearance that she fulfilled her wish of passing the entrance exam to the dance factory. As she grew older, her appearance and demeanor stood out among her peers. She landed a part-time modeling job. With an independent personality, she always carefully planned how to spend the money she earned from work, using it to buy her favorite dance shoes and outfits. She was a good daughter in her parents' eyes and a model for her 2 younger sisters. Therefore, to the family, Rachel's disappearance was absolutely not a normal occurrence. Her mother even suspected that something unfortunate had happened to her, hoping the police would immediately launch an investigation. The police's response was a stark contrast to what the family had expected. They dismissed the reports, suggesting that 15 was simply the age of rebellion. They fixated on one detail. Rachel had taken her favorite backpack filled with personal items. Combined with the fact that she had some savings from her part-time job, the police reached a lazy, convenient conclusion. This was just a typical runaway case. There was no need for investigation. Despite the parents' desperate explanations, the police stood their ground. They even had the audacity to comfort the couple, claiming it was normal for girls like Rachel to head off without a word, and that she would surely return once her money ran out. With no help from law enforcement, Rachel's parents took matters into their own hands. They stayed up through the night, printing and posting countless missing persons flyers, plastering them across the neighborhood. Michael and his wife scoured every street, every shop, even venturing into areas known for higher crime rates, desperate for any scrap of news. Soon, the entire community became aware of the tragedy, and volunteers spontaneously joined the search. This went on for days. As public pressure intensified and Rachel remained completely in the dark, the police finally realized the gravity of the situation and officially reclassified the case, opening a formal investigation. Police finally conducted a thorough search of Rachel's room. Tucked away in a corner of her desk, they discovered a handwritten note. After verification, the handwriting was confirmed to be Rachel's. The content was brief and cryptic. It read, "Train station to find Manny, $50 to $82, 3 special things." Rachel's parents knew the name well. Emmanuel Carella, Manny, was her boyfriend. They'd met while modeling, then crossed paths again at school, only to realize they were classmates. It felt like fate. Manny was a talented young man. He wrote his own music and even composed special love songs for Rachel. Their bond was stable and happy. At school, they were inseparable. Rachel never hid their relationship from her parents either. To them, it was just an innocent, beautiful high school romance. So what exactly did this note mean? Rachel's parents were utterly bewildered and couldn't find an answer. However, the police's interpretation of the note infuriated them. Police speculated that the amount of money, $50 to $82, and the 3 special things mentioned very likely referred to some kind of drug or medical expense. Combining this with the train station location and the name of her boyfriend, Manny, they implied to the couple that Rachel might have encountered some unspeakable trouble and chose to run away. Police even advised Rachel's parents that instead of focusing all their efforts on finding Rachel, they should pay more attention to their 2 other daughters at home. This baseless speculation was nothing short of a second blow to Rachel's parents. They considered it an insult to their daughter. The entire family had a very strong bond. Her parents firmly believed that if Rachel was truly in trouble, she would definitely seek help from her family and would never leave without a word. Police then sought out Manny, the person mentioned in the note. At this point, he had also been unable to contact Rachel for several days and was consumed by worry. The investigation confirmed that on the day Rachel disappeared, Manny had gone straight to home after school and was not with Rachel. However, Manny provided one crucial detail. On the afternoon of her disappearance, Rachel had excitedly told Manny that she had seen a pair of high heels worth 100 Australian dollars and planned to buy them the next day. Manny was a little curious at the time, wondering where Rachel would get so much money. Rachel mysteriously told him that she had found a new, well-paying part-time job, but didn't provide any specific details. This so-called high-paying job once again cast a dark cloud of suspicion over the police. They began investigating whether Rachel was involved in any illegal transactions, but this hypothesis was quickly dismissed. Apart from a small amount of pocket money from her parents, Rachel's savings all came from legal earnings from her part-time modeling job. Her record was perfectly clean. However, even Rachel's parents stated that they had never heard their daughter mention this new part-time job. One theory after another was dismissed, and the leads hit a dead end. Police decided to change their investigative approach, reasoning that Rachel might be more willing to share secrets with her peers. So police went to Rachel's dance school, attempting to uncover the truth about this new part-time job from her classmates. The dance school Rachel attended was in Lalore. This is a very bustling area in Melbourne, close to the city center. It boasts a vibrant commercial atmosphere and a lively arts community. Throughout the dance school, teenagers were discussing the stage and their dreams. Rachel had superior abilities and an outgoing personality, making her quite popular among her friends at school. In her friends' eyes, Rachel's behavior on the day she disappeared was very normal, even more excited than usual. The excitement at school was all about that mysterious big money-making plan. It was clear this was the same new job she had alluded to when talking with Manny. So what exactly was this plan? To understand, we have to rewind to the morning of March 1st and follow Rachel's movements to see how that final day unfolded. In the morning, Rachel was dropped off by her father at the tram station as usual, but as soon as she stepped on school grounds, she pulled a male classmate aside, whispering that she had stumbled upon a huge money-making opportunity. Her classmate, understandably curious, pressed for details, asking what it was and if he could get in on it. Rachel cut him off. She remained tight-lipped, insisting it was a secret and that she'd share everything with everyone the next day. There's a crucial detail here. Rachel said tomorrow. This confirms that in her mind, whatever was happening that evening was perfectly safe. She fully intended to show up at school the next day as usual. She had absolutely no intention of running away, which completely debunked the police's early, lazy speculations. Later that afternoon, Rachel met up with her boyfriend. Just as Manny had previously recounted, she brought up this plan. But strangely enough, even with her closest boyfriend, Rachel was vague. She didn't reveal any specifics. Around 4 p.m., during a break between classes, Rachel approached another classmate and asked if they could walk her part of the way home. The classmate found this odd. Rachel always took the direct route to the bus stop, and their paths home usually didn't align. Rachel explained that she wouldn't be heading home immediately. She had an appointment on the nearby Bray Street to meet an old friend who was also a female student. Bray Street, located just north of the school, was a bustling, trendy spot lined with designer boutiques, popular with local kids. However, at 5:30 p.m., once classes finished, Rachel suddenly changed her mind and decided to walk alone. We'll discuss the reason behind this shift later. 15 minutes later, with the streetlights flickering to life, a student saw Rachel for the last time. She was near the church, not far from the school. She was heading north, the road that would lead her to Bray Street. This direction was the polar opposite of the tram station she usually took. The classmate found it strange and even jogged after her to ask if they could walk together, but Rachel firmly refused. She wanted to go alone. They said their goodbyes on the street, and Rachel disappeared from sight. After reconstructing these witness statements, the police investigation shifted entirely to this mysterious big plan and the identity of this old friend. They went door-to-door, canvassing every store on Bray Street with Rachel's photo, but came up empty-handed. No one had seen her. Rachel was a beautiful girl. She would have been memorable. Police speculated that Rachel and her friend hadn't stayed on Bray Street for long. Perhaps they met up and immediately moved to a different location. Because they were constantly on the move, they didn't catch the eye of shopkeepers or passers-by. Police then went back to Rachel's parents, asking if she had any close female friends in Lalore area. The parents racked their brains, but they knew every child in Rachel's circle, and none of them lived in Lalore or could have offered her a high-paying job. It was clear, for some reason, Rachel had kept this appointment a secret from everyone. She genuinely thought she had stumbled upon a lucky break, but she never imagined she was walking directly into a carefully laid trap. A week after Rachel's disappearance, with the case at a standstill, police finally received a crucial tip-off that blew the investigation wide open. The caller was a girl named Allison, an old ballet classmate of Rachel's. After hearing about the disappearance at school, she remembered something significant. Allison told the police that on March 1st, the day Rachel vanished, she had seen Rachel, but it wasn't near Bray Street or heading towards her home. She saw her in Prawn area, far to the south of the school. More importantly, Rachel wasn't alone. She noticed her sitting next to a woman, someone plump, slightly older, and appearing very close to Rachel as they spoke in low, intimate words. Afterwards, she witnessed them both getting off the tram and disappearing into the crowd. This lead immediately made the police realize their entire search strategy was wrong. The person Rachel intended to meet wasn't on Bray Street, it was this mysterious woman. They hadn't gone shopping, they had headed straight for the tram station. This explained why no one near the school had spotted Rachel. She had already left the area. Prawn is about 3 kilometers from the school. If she was meeting an old friend, they must have coordinated this beforehand. But how did Rachel arrange the time and place without her parents finding out? Back then, there were no mobile phones or social media apps. The only way for a student to coordinate was via a home landline. Police speculated that this was a significant, premeditated plan, and the two definitely needed time to communicate. Since Rachel was busy at school, the most convenient time for them to talk would be over the weekend. Police checked the Barber family's call logs for the final week. Sure enough, they discovered something unusual. Just before Rachel's disappearance on the evening of Sunday, February 28th, there was a call from the Prawn area. The conversation lasted for 15 minutes. Rachel's parents remembered that on that evening, they were both busy with housework, and the 2 younger daughters were in their rooms. No one else had answered the phone. In other words, during those 15 minutes, Rachel was the only one speaking to the other party. It was highly likely that the big plan was finalized during this very call. Police immediately traced the phone number. The signal led to an apartment in Prawn, and the name of the registered tenant was Caroline Robertson. When the name Caroline appeared, Elizabeth, Rachel's mother, was aghast. Caroline was no stranger to them. She was 5 years older than Rachel, and at one point, the 2 families had lived on the same street, less than 100 meters apart. Back then, the families were friendly, and the children often played together. Rachel's parents remembered the older Caroline as being quite caring, even specifically inviting her to their home to work as a babysitter for a while, looking after Rachel and her 2 younger sisters. In Rachel's innocent world, this former babysitter could truly be considered an old friend. In the memory of the adults, Caroline was a pitiable child. Her parents had divorced and she lived with her mother, leading to a somewhat unstable mental state. Caroline's mother had repeatedly confided in Elizabeth, even burying her head in Elizabeth's shoulder, weeping uncontrollably about her daughter's condition. At the time, Elizabeth had even suggested taking Caroline to see a psychologist, but Caroline was very resistant, and it never happened. No one ever imagined that this neighbor who once helped with childcare would become the pivotal figure in a missing person's nightmare. On March 12th, 11 days after Rachel's disappearance, police officially raided Caroline's apartment. Officers knocked on the door repeatedly, but there was no response from inside. When they finally forced their way in, the scene that greeted them astonished everyone. Caroline had not fled. She was lying unconscious on the bedroom floor. While Caroline was receiving emergency treatment, police began meticulously piecing together her activities over the past 11 days. Caroline was an employee at a mobile phone company in Melbourne at the time. Her colleagues recalled that on March 2nd, the day Rachel disappeared, Caroline appeared at work as usual. However, her condition that day was visibly abnormal. Her face was ghastly pale, and she didn't speak a single word, as if she had just recovered from a severe illness. After work, a kind colleague, concerned for her health, specifically drove her to her apartment to see her home after work. From that day onward, Caroline requested extended leave due to illness, effectively isolating herself at home until the police finally broke down the door and found her unconscious on the floor. But the most disturbing piece of the puzzle was yet to come. Caroline kept a diary. During the search, police found her journals. After reading through them, a deeply unsettling inner world unfolded before everyone. Let's look at an excerpt from Caroline's diary written in 1993 when she was in junior high. At that time, Caroline was working as a part-time babysitter for 2 hours a day. Caroline hated the job. She felt it robbed her of her time, preventing her from completing her homework, and she felt she accomplished almost nothing meaningful. In Caroline's diary, there was a disturbing self-portrait. In the drawing, Caroline had depicted herself with a large nose and a face full of freckles, with accompanying notes expressing raw self-loathing. She hated her own appearance, her physique, and even her entire life. And then, starting from one particular entry, Rachel's name began to appear everywhere. In every line, Caroline radiated a toxic, consuming envy towards Rachel. She described Rachel as a pure angel, while she likened herself to an insect crawling in the darkness. What sent shivers down the spine of the investigators were the final pages of the diary. Caroline had begun to write out her action plan. She meticulously recorded how to make Rachel disappear and planned to use the stolen identification documents to completely erase her own past. From there, she intended to begin a new life as Rachel. The next day, Caroline regained consciousness in her hospital bed. Faced with irrefutable evidence, she remained eerily calm. Caroline finally broke her silence and disclosed a specific location, a farm in Kilmore, about 60 kilometers from Melbourne. It was her father's property, the very place where she had spent much of her own childhood. Police swiftly arrived at the farm, and there, beneath a small, makeshift grave situated next to a pet cemetery, they found Rachel, who had been missing for many days. Forensic results indicated that Rachel had died from strangulation, and the time of death was pinpointed to the very evening of her disappearance. The investigators were filled with immense regret. If they had only opened the case sooner and taken that phone call seriously from the start, perhaps this horrific tragedy could have been prevented. News reached Melbourne, and Rachel's parents were completely shattered. They couldn't accept that the neighbor they had once trusted, the girl they had invited into their home as a babysitter, harbored such horrific malice. In a cruel twist, Caroline's upbringing actually shared many similarities with Rachel's. She was also born in Mount Auburn, Melbourne, and was the eldest daughter in her own family. She too had 2 younger sisters. Her father managed the farm. One could say that by all accounts, Caroline should have had a peaceful life. However, Caroline's adolescence was always overshadowed by deep self-negation. From the time she hit high school, she suffered from severe depression. She battled crippling social anxiety, had no real friends, and could never come to terms with her appearance or physique. She tried to confide in her parents, but she never felt truly understood. As a result, Caroline was forced to bottle up all her negative emotions, venting them only in the pages of her diary. She idolized the singer Madonna at the time, eventually developing an obsessive, distorted idea that she was inherently ugly and could only gain the attention she craved through cosmetic surgery and a total physical transformation, hoping to become as beautiful as her idol. To achieve this, she filled her diary with intricate plans for weight loss and surgical procedures, fantasizing that one day she could stand on stage. But in reality, these desires never materialized. Instead, they caused her to sink deeper into a pit of pain, especially after being ridiculed by those around her. At 16, her parents divorced. Caroline and her younger sisters went to live with their mother. Her parents' broken marriage became the final straw for Caroline. She desperately yearned for her father's affection, constantly writing him letters, while her relationship with her mother plummeted to an all-time low. She always felt her mother couldn't protect her, and after losing the daily presence of her father, she felt even more isolated. It was in this deeply melancholy state that Rachel Barber entered her life. Because the two families lived in such close proximity, the younger sisters in both families frequently played together, and Rachel, always welcoming, often invited Caroline over to join them. Gradually, Caroline and Rachel became friends. Caroline watched Rachel dance in the sunlight, her emotions incredibly complex. Sometimes she felt Rachel was her only friend, but at some point, this feeling transformed into a dark, suffocating jealousy. In Rachel's eyes, Rachel was born with everything anyone could ever want: a slender figure, exceptional talent, and the perfect, flawless family. Compared to herself, Caroline saw only someone who was coarse and clumsy. This stark contrast caused Caroline's self-hatred to gradually morph into a poisonous resentment towards Rachel. After graduating high school, Caroline moved to Prahran to live independently. Although the physical distance between her and Rachel grew, her obsession burned even hotter. In her mind, Rachel had stolen all the light in the world. An insane, unshakable thought formed in her head. If Rachel simply disappeared, she could step in to replace her and live that perfect life herself. On the evening of February 28th, Caroline made the call to Rachel's home. She exploited Rachel's trust in her, concocting a calculated lie. She claimed she was participating in a psychological study that desperately needed a volunteer, a rare opportunity to earn $100 as compensation. She asked Rachel if she wanted to participate, but Caroline was careful. She emphasized that this study had to be kept absolute secret. She told Rachel not to breathe a word of it to anyone, not even her parents. Rachel, who always considered Caroline a trustworthy older sister, agreed without a second thought, promising absolute secrecy. This was the precise reason why she suddenly decided to go alone after school that day and refused to walk with her classmates. In her eyes, this was just an innocent opportunity to help a friend and earn a little extra money for new dance shoes. If she didn't keep it a secret and Caroline happened to be seen with someone else, she feared the opportunity might fall apart. The next evening, the two met at the designated location. Rachel followed Caroline back to her apartment in Prahran. After entering the home, Caroline appeared very enthusiastic and welcoming, but during their conversation, she secretly drugged Rachel's drink. As the drug began to take effect, Rachel grew dizzy. Caroline then tricked the girl, telling her this was simply the meditation phase of the experiment. She instructed Rachel to relax her body, close her eyes, and imagine a beautiful, successful future life. Rachel, trusting her former babysitter implicitly, complied. Caroline then exploited that misplaced trust to cruelly end the young girl's life. Afterwards, Caroline hid Rachel's body in a closet. She then wrapped Rachel in blankets and hired two unsuspecting movers. She lied to them, claiming the package was a heavy stone sculpture, and instructed them to transport it to her father's farm. A few days later, she began practicing Rachel's signature. During this time, she even proactively called Rachel's parents. Over the phone, she feigned concern, asking about Rachel's whereabouts. Caroline wanted the police to believe that she and the Barber family had always been in frequent, normal contact, so the phone call on the night before Rachel's disappearance wouldn't seem too sudden, thus shielding herself from police suspicion. After executing these steps, Caroline became so overwhelmed by the sheer tension of the situation that she suffered an epileptic seizure and collapsed unconscious in her room. With such clear evidence, the police officially arrested Caroline and charged her with murder. 2 weeks later, Rachel's family held a funeral for her at Linden Memorial Park. That day, Rachel's boyfriend, classmates, teachers, and many strangers who had helped search for her all came to bid her farewell. At an age that should have been her brightest, Rachel's life was tragically cut short. For her family, the long, enduring pain had only begun. The only thing they could do now was await justice from the law. Sometime later, under intense public scrutiny, the case officially went to trial. In court, the prosecution and defense fiercely debated Caroline's mental state. The defense attorney emphasized that Caroline had suffered from severe depression and anxiety for a long time, hoping the court would reduce her sentence. Meanwhile, the prosecution presented Caroline's detailed plans found in her diary, demonstrating that she had clear logical thinking and defined goals when committing the crime, thus arguing for a harsh sentence. After a period of deliberation, the Supreme Court of Victoria convicted Caroline of murder and sentenced her to 20 years, with a non-parole period of 14.5 years. The judge, when delivering the sentence, noted that while Caroline had been immersed in self-loathing, which was truly regrettable, her personality disorder led her to inflict profound pain on an innocent girl. This act was something the law absolutely could not tolerate. After the verdict was delivered, Caroline was transferred to prison to serve her sentence, where she received psychiatric treatment. What Rachel's family found utterly unacceptable was that Caroline never expressed any apology to them. On the contrary, there were constant rumors in prison that Caroline had spent a great deal of time exercising to lose weight and had even straightened her naturally curly hair, all actions aimed at further imitating Rachel's image. Rachel's family could never escape the tragedy. In 2009, driven by the determination of Rachel's parents and her maternal grandfather, a film based on this case was released. Watching the actors reenact Rachel's life on screen, her mother, Elizabeth, couldn't help but wonder what Rachel would look like now if she were still alive. Time passed again. In August 2013, Caroline became eligible to apply for conditional release. Over the years, Rachel's parents had always followed news of her. Hearing this, they resolutely filed an objection demanding her continued incarceration. Due to strong opposition from the victim's family, Caroline's application for conditional release was not approved. It wasn't until 2 years later that she was officially granted parole. That year, Caroline was 37 years old. In an interview after her release from prison, Caroline complained that the influence of public opinion and the film had caused her mother and sister to lose their jobs and move homes multiple times. Although she admitted to being the mastermind, her focus seemed to always be on her own family. Until the interview ended, she did not utter a single word of remorse for Rachel. Currently, Caroline is in a romantic relationship with a female inmate she met in prison. Both have since been released. Their relationship is stable and their lives seem to be gradually returning to normal. As for Rachel's family, after more than 10 years of suffering, they made a difficult choice. They publicly announced their forgiveness for Caroline and hoped the public would no longer harass her so she could contribute to society. Their only request was that from then on, they no longer wanted to hear any news about Caroline. Although they spoke of forgiveness, a sword of Damocles always hung over Elizabeth, Rachel's mother's heart. She couldn't help but worry whether, in some corner of the world, Caroline might develop new obsessions. Besides Rachel's family, there was one more person who never escaped that fateful day in 1999: Manny, Rachel's boyfriend. For over 20 years, on March 1st each year, Manny has posted on social media to commemorate the girl he deeply cherished, never once stopping. Manny has now become a singer. What is even more touching is that his debut song, Too Beautiful, expresses his longing for Rachel in every word and every line. If Rachel hadn't followed Caroline that day, she might now be a top ballet dancer standing on stage with Manny. But all those what-if scenarios ended on that day. Caroline once thought that if Rachel disappeared, she could replace her, but she was completely wrong. She took Rachel's life, but she could never steal the light that Rachel left in the hearts of her loved ones and family. A tragic end, a burgeoning, talented life extinguished by envy and sick delusion. The Rachel Barber case is not just a story of loss, but also a painful reminder of the hidden corners of the human soul and the unforeseen consequences of obsession. Although Caroline tried to erase the past and usurp Rachel's identity, the young girl's light still shines brightly in the memories of those who loved her. And that is something no evil perpetrator can ever steal. Today's video ends here, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.